Hi there, welcome to this Sunday edition of This Is Exclusive, in which we are packing a punch. There was a rail accident early in the morning in Tamil Nadu, and it seems, it's emerging rather, that it could be a case of sabotage, with cracks being noticed in the railway tracks just ahead of the spot where the train derailed. It's clearly building up to something, and that's going to be our focus also. With External Affairs Minister S. Shankars set to visit China this week, I spoke to former Foreign Secretary Kamal Sibbal on what to expect in this diplomatic quicksand. All that and more. Let's begin with the headlines. Preliminary report alleges cracks in tracks after freight train ferrying diesel and crude oil catches fire in Tamil Nadu's Tiruvallur. Huge controversy erupts over AIB's preliminary crash report. Pilot Association questions report and leak to Western media. President Draupadi Murmu nominates former Foreign Secretary Harsh Shringla, 2611 lawyer Ujjwal Nikam, BJP leader Sadanandan Master and historian Meenakshi Jain to the Rajya Sabha. Prime Minister Modi extends wishes. Hit and run, horror rocks Delhi. Drunk driver runs over 5 people, arrested and let go on bail. Major concerns ahead of Bihar Assembly polls. EC sources say names of illegal immigrants from Bangladesh, Myanmar and Nepal in Bihar voter list. All right, welcome back, friends. The Tamil Nadu train fire accident is currently under investigation, with railway officials and police probing into the cause of the incident. A goods train carrying diesel derailed near Tiruvallur railway station, resulting in a massive fire that engulfed 5 wagons. Now a new angle is under lens. Crack was found on the track 100 meters from the accident site, raising suspicions about the cause of the derailment. Railway officials are investigating whether the crack contributed to the accident, and if yes, then is it a case of sabotage? Let's go to Sharda. She's joining us live. These are pictures from earlier, morning pictures on your right of the screen, with the train on fire, the wagons on fire, and to your left, the rescue and relief operations, etc., going on from the site. Sharda joins us live. Sharda, preliminary report suggesting that there was a crack on the track. You would have spoken to some of the officials present there at the site. What's their primary assessment? Could it be a case of sabotage? Are we looking in that direction?
Abhishek, initially in the morning when the train met with an accident with the fire after the diesel caught on fire was because of the friction. Multiple statements came out saying that it was because of the heat and the friction that was caused with the train wheels on the track. Later, it was said that the diesel caught on the fire and that's when the train derailed. However, later after the first set of the fire dosing happened, they were able to go near the tracks where the officials found out there were cracks on the track that the train was traveling in, just 100 meters away from exactly where the fire accident happened. However, out of the 16 wagons, only 4 had caught on fire and the rest were taken away safely. So in that case, now there's a probe being launched by the RPF to make sure whether the crack was caused after the accident happened or was it before, and that's the probe that they have been launched. And then it's stated that after the debris is cleaned up is when they can inquire completely, because the tracks are completely hidden under the 4 other wagons that was caught on fire and is laying on the track all damaged. So after removal of debris and also making sure that the electric connections and the wires that are replaced there is when the RPF will be able to tell us if the tracks were actually damaged beforehand or was it because of the train after falling on the tracks these cracks come up with.
Right. Sharda, one more question. How busy is this section of the railways where this accident happened? Was some passenger train also likely or expected to come at the same time that this goods train passed by? Are the authorities looking at those aspects about the possibility of a larger plan to cause sabotage, damage, and even loss of life or property?
Abhishek, this was a goods train, and luckily no other trains at that time crossed that particular area. The accident exactly happened at 5:20 a.m. is what the locals there were telling us. They also heard the explosion noise, and that is when they knew that the fire accident was caused, and they immediately ran out of their houses because they live near the tracks. And being 5:20 a.m., there were no passenger trains that crossed that particular area because Tiruvallur and is in between Arakonam and Chennai, which is one of the important stations and is the district right next to the capital city, Chennai. So their movements there from 6 a.m. would be very heavy. However, the EMU trains would be running only from 6 a.m. and luckily nobody was hurt. And following the accident, multiple other express trains and passengers train were stopped and also derouted. And the Southern Railway said at least 24 hours there had been no other movement in that particular area.
Right. All right. Thank you so much, Sharda, with those details. We keep close track of those developments, close track of the crack in the section there where the accident has taken place. Moving on for now to the next one. And External Affairs Minister S. Shankars' visit to China for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Foreign Ministers meeting is expected to lay the groundwork for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's anticipated visit to Beijing for the SCO Leaders Summit in the month of August. The visit will also help set the tone for India-China relations and regional diplomacy. Jaishankar's trip is seen as a litmus test for how far the two nations have progressed in rebuilding trust since the October 2024 decision to disengage at the last two remaining friction points along the line of actual control. The major question is, what should New Delhi focus on and what should be the expectations from the SCO summit? I spoke to former Foreign Secretary Kanwal Sibbal. Joining us, Mr. Kanwal Sibbal, former Foreign Secretary of India. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. And first visit of External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, as it happens after Galwan, after Operation Sindoor, after our Vice Chief of Army said that we had one front but two nations fighting, obviously that the second nation was China. And yes, again, first visit after the 90th birthday of Dalai Lama, where there was some heated arguments on which side India strongly stands or should stand. So what do you expect from External Affairs Minister's visit to China for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit meeting?
Well, if it was a purely bilateral visit, then many of the things that you have pointed out would have been very relevant. But this is not a bilateral visit. It's an SCO foreign minister's visit. It's a multilateral visit. And we know that when the defense ministers of the SCO met, they were not able to issue a joint communique because we objected to the elimination of any reference to terrorism in the document that was circulated, although Balochistan was mentioned, which means that Pakistani concerns and Chinese concerns about what they perceive as terrorism from the Baloch liberation fighters had relevance. But what happened in Pahalgam and Pakistan's long-standing use of terrorism against that did not have relevance. Now, this issue is going to come up again.
Yeah.
And our foreign minister will have to face this squarely. Now, it will be interesting to see who gives in, whether the Chinese and the Pakistanis insist on maintaining the previous position,
yeah,
which means that India will not be able to then be part of the joint communique. If they back off, then it will be seen as if India's hard diplomatic tactics have worked.
Yeah.
And this would actually be some sort of a diplomatic setback to the Chinese and the Pakistanis. So it's going to be a tussle of wills. But we have made our position very clear. And the discussions will be based on the assumption that if India does not get satisfaction on mentioning of terrorism, now, we are not going to, in the SCO, say that Pakistan should be named.
Yeah.
Because if you like, the conditions for India and Pakistan jointly to enter the SCO was that their bilateral issues will not figure
Very true.
in SCO discussions. So if we were to insist on naming Pakistan, then it becomes a bilateral issue. But if we rightly say that all countries are committed to fighting terrorism, there's so many UN documents on this, so many bilateral joint statements on this issue, and China itself condemned Pahalgam as a terrorist act. So why should there be any difficulty in mentioning terrorism in the joint communique and the responsibility of all countries to fight terrorism and have zero tolerance for terrorism? This will be our bottom line position. Now let's see what happens.
Right. And any possibility, sir, of the External Affairs Minister bumping into the Pakistani counterpart, or the Pakistani counterpart actually trying to do that?
Well, I don't think any purpose would be served, because these encounters, if they take place, have to be properly prepared. Otherwise, it can be misread, and a lot of stories can be built around it without foundation, saying that there is a thaw in the relationship. There are a lot of people in India who would like to play this up and confuse matters. And the Pakistanis would play this up at their end, because if you've seen that statements from their side, from Bilawal Bhutto and all, they are as if, they have been committed to peace for the last 70 years.
Yeah. They've been itching to have a dialogue.
So therefore, I don't think, yes, some civilities will be observed. They may talk to each other, shake hands and say hello, that kind of thing, but there can't be any discussion per se.
Right. So by all yardsticks, you would agree, sir, that this is going to be a quicksand of diplomacy that S. Jaishankar would need to negotiate?
You see, keep in mind that last year at the SCO Foreign Ministers meeting, Jaishankar went to Beijing. Went to Beijing. Because at the summit, it was not the SCO Foreign Ministers, the SCO summit. And he had gone. Then they met... He met Wang Yi at the sidelines of the Johannesburg G20 meeting in February 25.
Right.
Then in July 25, we met him on the sidelines of the ASEAN meeting.
And BRICS also, they have met.
And then BRICS also, they have had a lot of meetings. So it's not as if it's anything new. So he will meet him. And I suppose the usual things will be said about maintaining peace and tranquility and resolving outstanding issues, and then proceeding towards some normalization. Last time it was that the Yatra, Mansarovar Yatra would be revived, and there was some talk about exchange of civilian flights. So these are the things that are on the anvil. On the other hand, we've seen that China has toughened its position on technology issues, on supply of certain foreign-made equipment, let's say German-made equipment, the tunneling equipment, which they are withholding. And there is some kind of a use of sanctions, without calling them as such, in order to retard the process of supply chains moving away from China to India. And then, as the Vice Chief of Army Staff, and you mentioned, the Chief of Army mentioned that actually China was very much present in this conflict in terms of giving them real-time information on our assets. So there have been a lot of negative signals from China. So it's going to be a long haul with this country.
Long haul for External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar as he travels to Beijing for participation in SCO Summit. Thank you so much, Mr. Sibal, with your those deep insights into the possibilities moving on. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Right. Soon after the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau of India came out with its 15-page report on the AI-171 crash that was yesterday, reactions started pouring in, despite Minister of State for Civil Aviation warning that this was just a preliminary report and people should not jump to conclusions. The Indian Commercial Pilots Association has raised its concerns regarding the accusations or insinuation against the pilots of Flight AI-171. ICPA called the accusation or allegations against the pilots and flight crew a gross violation and disservice to the profession. Same as happened in 2019, or had happened in 2019, when following the Ethiopian Airlines crash, the initial report suggested pilot error that might have played a significant role, but later investigations revealed serious flaws in the MCA's system. We tried speaking to the Minister of Civil Aviation, Ram Mohan Naidu. Let's see if he responded.
Preliminary.
No, I'm not talking.
Sir,
Please.
Sir, your thoughts.
I've already given.
Sir, please, one word on the.
I've already given. Thank you.
Sir, one word. There's a
Thank
lot
you,
of
thank you.
contradiction in the report, sir. Sir, just one word. Preliminary.
No, I'm not talking.
Sir,
I've
Sir, your thoughts.
already given.
Sir, please, one word on the.
I've already given. Thank you. Thank
Sir, one word. There's a
Thank
lot
you,
of
thank you.
contradiction in the report, sir. Sir, just one word.
All right, amidst these mounting contradictions and insinuations, joining me in the studios, Captain Hassan Khaled. He's a former IF pilot and officer and, of course, a former commander of Boeing 737 NG fleet. Very good evening and welcome, Mr. Khaled.
Hi,
Thanks
good
for
evening.
joining us
Good
in the
evening.
studios. And my question to you, this thing that began with those two lines in the 15-page report, Pilot A asked Pilot B, did you switch off the fuel switch? And he says, no, I did not. And then it has built into this clear insinuation that maybe there was something wrong, maybe one of the pilots did it. As a pilot, do you see that that's even a distinct possibility?
Okay, Abhishek, there is lot that has been said and there is lot that hasn't been said. And therefore, when we discuss, it would be trying to decipher what has not been said, because what is said is already known.
Right.
So what was said on the channel by the Honorable Minister is that we should not come to any kind of conclusion.
Yeah.
It's a preliminary report.
Yeah.
I wish and I hope that DGCA and our AIB would go to FAA and tell them that on 11th of July, you gave a clean chit to Boeing 787
Yeah.
as having no problem technically.
Yeah.
Okay, so are we going to go to Boeing and FAA and tell them that we have not given you a clean chit? It was on 11th of July.
Right.
Okay. In that same
No,
letter...
you are alluding to the reports that emerge in the Western media, the Wall Street Journal.
No. I am referring to what is called advisory from FAA dated 11th July
Okay.
to all the 24 or 36 airlines, 171 aircraft being operated within USA and about 1100 outside to various parts of the world. That particular continued service advisory, it's CANPA kind of a word, okay, but it is an advisory from FAA to all the operators that based upon the preliminary report, it is now clear that there is no technical problem with Boeing 787.
Right.
Okay, so it has the conclusion has already been arrived,
Right.
which affects the operation.
And then this insinuation that the pilots might have done something.
Okay, so we come to that is one part. So we have to come to conclusion because it is conclusion and next report maybe after 1 year.
Yeah.
Who would be interested in it?
Yeah.
You would probably cover it for 5 minutes, but will all channels cover it?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we come to the whole thing as to what does the AIB report say. So before AIB report, a lot of media, a lot of people, I started talking maybe on the 12th or 13th of June itself that there is something called TCMA.
Right.
That can shut both the engines down simultaneously as it did in Osaka in 2019.
And that's without any manual intervention.
That is correct.
Okay.
And it has been accepted in a service bulletin by Boeing itself.
Right.
Okay. So TCMA would be able to shut it down if it gets wrong signal.
Yeah.
There was a rider that it has to be on, it does only on ground.
Okay.
Okay. So the AIB report very conclusively comes out with a statement that at timestamp of 0839, all the sensors transition from ground mode to air mode.
Yeah.
So what is the outcome of this
So
sentence?
that's when the aircraft was already airborne.
Yeah, so 3 seconds after getting airborne,
Yeah.
they all transition to air mode.
Right.
Therefore, all the allegations on TCMA switching the engine off is now like not relevant.
Not possible. Yeah, not relevant.
Not relevant.
Yeah, not relevant.
So that sentence wasn't required to be there. Okay. Why? Because if the switches really transition to the air, why the landing gear wasn't selected up? Because if it continues to be in ground, the landing gear will be down, even if the pilot wants to take it up. Okay. So landing gear did not go up. That means Why? We don't know. Do you know what was the engine power that was being produced before the aircraft lifted off? We don't know. What we know is that fuel switches transitioned from run to cutoff at time stamp 42.
Yeah.
Right?
But by that time, the aircraft already had 180 knots.
Yeah, that's fine. It's just about, say, 3 seconds after getting airborne.
Yeah.
It transitioned. It conveys me nothing. Because when you say transition, there is no mover. When you say moved, that means somebody moved. So AIB report, and rightly so, because AIB report is only seeing the electrical position recording. Either it is 0 or it is 1.
Right.
So it was 1 when it was on. When it went off, it became 0. So there was an electrical signal that went on to turn the fuel supply off. Okay. They never say that the fuel switches were moved up and down. No, nowhere have they said.
Except for that pilot conversation. And that's why this insinuation that the pilots might have done it.
Let's look at it. I will come to it. Even if I miss it, please tell me, because I haven't slept the whole night as to why would somebody do that. I know exactly well. Okay. So the AIB report never says that the switch was moved. They only say that it transitioned from one state to another.
Yeah.
Okay. That can happen electrically. That can happen probably from TCMA. It can happen from FedEx. It can happen from EEC.
Can it happen in flight?
Why not? If there is an electrical malfunction, Boeing never said that it can malfunction on ground.
Right.
Before 2019, that action.
Yeah.
So if we really investigate, they'll say, okay, it can malfunction and we'll correct it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we come back to the question of pilot talking. Did you put off? Or he says, I didn't do so. So the whole AIB report, if you read, first is that electric fuel switch SAIB, the report.
Yeah.
That says that, Boeing 737 in 2018 had a problem that the latching mechanism can go wrong.
Yeah.
It has got no relevance to 787.
Okay.
Okay. But be it as it is, if it fails, that means a mechanical failure.
Yeah.
There are two different switches with two different springs.
Yeah.
Will they fail exactly in that same second?
That's why this insinuation of a manual intervention.
No. I will come back again. This switch was found in the run position after the crash.
Right.
The crash means it has gone through so much of bashing.
But that's been explained that the other pilot tried to rev up the engines again.
What I'm saying is that switch wasn't faulty. That SAIB report that is in the...
Oh, you mean to say, had it shut down, it wouldn't have easily come up again?
Right. No, if it was put, so let's say that the switch was faulty. Both the switches became faulty at the same time, same second, assume, right? Then they put it up. In the crash, things would have moved. This would have moved back? No, it hasn't moved. It is firmly, it is in their report, in their image, that it is in the run position.
So when can we expect? Okay. So when can we expect this insinuation to really go now? Like how long we have to wait?
Okay, so I will tell you that those two sentences of the CVR recording. We did not have any CVR recording or transcript.
Right.
It is an interpretation of CVR that we have. Now I'll tell you the whole sequence and I'll speak the same sentence. Okay. I rotate the aircraft. The engines are going up and down. The power is varying. Okay. I get airborne. And thereafter, at 39, my engines start to wind down. I get both engine failure. I said, okay, memory items, engine failure. And thereafter, I'm controlling the aircraft. And the engine doesn't. So I said, did you turn the fuel switch off?
Yeah.
He says, no, I didn't do so. Then I would say, do it.
Yeah.
Now do it again. Put it to run. So the pilot...
That communication has to be there. Those exact words have to be there.
Yeah. So, but I'm saying these two sentences will be part of the checklist, what Boeing has mandated to do.
And is there a camera possibility also?
No, there is no camera here.
Oh, there is no camera.
Okay, so the
cockpit does not have a camera.
No, the cockpit does not have a camera. So I'm saying that, when you have a checklist being executed, which is dual engine failure checklist, and you tell the pilot that, okay, dual engine failure, both the switches off, and both the switches to run. And engine hasn't picked up. Because I am flying, I am not looking inside.
Yeah.
Okay. It has not picked up. So I asked, did you do it? He said, no, I didn't do it. Why? Because he was frozen.
Yeah.
Right? So he says, okay, do it. Then he does it. Okay. Now it looks very nice.
So you mean to say this insinuation can go only when the final conversation,
right,
exact conversation of the CVR comes out.
Yeah. So the biggest question that has been opened here is that was the fuel switch moved? If it was moved, it doesn't say it was moved. If it was moved, was it in the attempt to restart the engine, or was it the attempt of killing the engine? Now I will come back to this question of killing the engine. Okay, which is an insinuation. It is an impossibility. Let us assume that Kundar was flying and Sabharwal was pilot monitoring with 15,000 hours of experience versus 3,000 hours. He is flying like this, and let us assume that Sabharwal tried to kill himself.
Right.
Okay. He put the switches off, and this guy rotates and engine dies. There would be 50 lights, 50 messages. Kundar will not realize what has happened, not in 5 seconds, not in 10 seconds, not in half an hour, because his workload has increased like no other pilot has ever had. He is flying a glider suddenly. He will be just doing it. We are not trained to do the checklist with the pilot not being trusted. Okay. So the checklist is being, he is flying, he can't ask me, did you do this, did you do that? No, that won't happen. Okay. And the second thing is, the conversation that will happen on the CAS messages, warning messages. It will say dual engine failed, single engine failed, this. There would be 50 lights on.
Right.
Okay. So this won't be a talk like it is presented. But when you see the flow of the talk in AIB, it leads to a direction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is harsh on pilots.
Yeah.
And when you look at it like this, it looks perfectly fine.
So I think I fully understood what you're saying, sir. Essentially, what we have understood, Captain Khaled, from your conversation is that the insinuation is bad, and it can be lifted only after we get the exact conversation that happened between the pilots, for which I think we will have to wait. And hopefully the AAIB, and more than the AAIB, in fact, the government should intervene, because this seems like a case of a big corporate war also. Remember, let's not forget that just hours before the AAIB report became public, there were reports already in Western media platforms like the Wall Street Journal giving a certain spin to the accident. We are not going to let go of this story anytime soon. Thanks, France, joining us this Sunday. This is exclusive. I run out of time. Short break. Get Me Right is back on the other side.